Would you rather sit alone in an empty room doing absolutely nothing, or press a button to get electrically shocked? You probably think that's a ridiculous question. I mean, sure, 15 minutes of silence might be a little boring, but not that boring. If you think you never do that, well, chances are you would. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. But first, let me show you something. Like many of you, I have a full-time job. I work about 7 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's pretty backbreaking work, rotating between classes about math, science, English, history, sitting in a cramped classroom listening to teachers lecture. And when that dismissal bell finally rings, my workday doesn't exactly end. I'm still sent home with tons of homework, on top of managing extracurriculars and studying. And so, most weekdays typically look like this. Pretty cramped, not really a whole lot of room for free time. By the time Friday rolls around, after 35 hours of school and many more of homework, you'd think I'd be thrilled. I mean, it's the weekend. I was going to be looking forward to 48 hours of this. Should be every kid's dream, right? And yet, every Saturday morning, or on any other empty day, instead of feeling relaxed, I felt stressed out, which is strange because free time is supposed to feel, well, freeing. So why doesn't it? Before we go any further, I should probably clarify something. I'm not a psychologist, and I don't have a PhD. The closest thing I have to formal instruction in human behavior was freshman year Intro to Psych. Now, as a high school junior, I've noticed that this unexpected guilty feeling keeps reoccurring. So I wondered, what if other students experience the same feelings too? Turns out, I'm not alone. My own friends and classmates have said they felt the same way, like they're never quite doing enough. And after doing some research, I discovered there's actually a name for this feeling: free time anxiety, or more technically, leisurephobia. I swear I'm not making this up. It's the guilt or stress we feel when we aren't being productive, the discomfort of doing nothing. So, to our lizard brains, doing nothing is uncomfortable, while we see busyness as synonymous with success. Neuroscientists call the part of your brain that lights up when you aren't focused on a task, the part responsible for mind wandering and self-reflection, the default mode network. That's a real mouthful. So luckily, I found this real MRI scan of the default mode network from an accredited academic journal. So, during bouts of boredom, panic calls start flooding in from all over our brains. What should I be doing right now to get ahead? Am I falling behind? That can be pretty overwhelming, and from what I've seen, a big source of stress for us students. So, how do we manage that guilt? We begin down a slippery slope, joining clubs we don't care about, committing to activities just for their prestige, and chasing more and more and more resume line items. And that's where I found myself, a whirlpool of guilt, stress, and self-loathing, all caused by unnecessary busyness, while feeling disconnected from my goals. Now, going back to the why, there's actually a specific recipe behind this feeling. Let's call it the leisurephobia cake. We begin with societal pressure as the base. Modern work culture glorifies constant productivity, and doing nothing feels like falling behind, leading to a sense of inadequacy. Next, we layer on some perfectionism. Many of us, students especially, set impossibly high standards for ourselves, believing that if we're not constantly achieving, we're failing or wasting time. And the icing on the cake is the neurological factors at play. Our brains love the dopamine hit of checking off a task, but during free time without those so-called wins, we struggle to find satisfaction, making stillness feel uncomfortable. Sounds like a pretty awful cake. Interestingly, we've even optimized leisure time. During vacation, for instance, we often cram in countless activities and excursions to make them feel worth it, even if that's not how we actually want to enjoy our well-earned break. Which takes us back to that initial question. Harvard psychologist Dr. Daniel Gilbert placed participants in a room with two options. Do absolutely nothing for 15 minutes, just sitting there with your thoughts, or press a button that delivered an electric shock. Racked with discomfort, a surprising number, around 66% of men and 25% of women, chose to shock themselves. Even repeatedly. One man pressed the button over 190 times. But I suspect something else might have been going on with him. When I first came across this bizarre study, I realized that there's a whole other kind of free time anxiety, the kind everybody experiences, not just students like me. That's why so many of us turn to our pocket-sized distractions and other external stimulants the minute we have nothing to do. Doing nothing, being bored, forces us to confront our innermost thoughts, the uncomfortable ones that make us scrunch our faces and shudder at even the thought of them, the existential ones. And that's what the researchers concluded in their study. Without anything better to do, we start digging through the old, dusty files that live deep within the recesses of our brains. When we're busy, we feel successful, like we're climbing a ladder. But when we sit still, we feel like we aren't making any progress at all. We're left alone with questions like, what am I actually climbing toward? And those are the questions that scare us. But slowing down doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means creating space to make sure your ambition is pointed in the right direction. Because doing nothing isn't laziness or a flaw, it's a skill. And if we never practice it, we may spend our entire lives climbing, achieving, producing, checking boxes, only to realize at the very top that our ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. It's a new perspective on an old truth. Doing less might be the only way to feel more. So next time you have 15 empty minutes, don't try to fill them. And definitely don't reach for the shock. Because sometimes the best thing you can do is nothing at all. Thank you.